one of the things that Jesus is doing for his disciples here is he's preparing them for the reality of what it looks like to follow him. It's not always going to be smooth sailing, Jesus says. It's not always going to be easy. You're not always going to be, contrary to what many popular preachers will say today, you're not always going to be healthy and wealthy if you choose to follow me. Actually, Jesus said, you're going to experience affliction. There will be tribulation even because of the fact that you're following me. Men and women, Jesus said earlier in this same discourse, some of them may hate you because of the stand that you take, because of the faith that you have in my name. And so those words actually could be really troubling, but the interesting thing about this passage is Jesus isn't trying to concern his disciples. He actually wants them to find peace. He wants you to find peace. And what I think is so fascinating about the peace that Jesus offers to his disciples in this passage is that it's not peace instead of suffering. It's not either or. It's not, I'm going to give you peace so that you won't have affliction or tribulation. It's peace even in the midst of suffering. It's a calm even in the middle of the storm. I want you to have peace, but know this, in the world, Jesus said, you are going to have tribulation. I've heard people ask before, how can God be real if there is so much suffering in the world? And you need to understand that Jesus did not deny the reality of suffering. God, the Son, Jesus, knows suffering more than anyone else. He didn't deny the reality of suffering, and he didn't deny it for his own disciples, those who loved him dearly, those who he loved. He says, you are going to face affliction. It's not always going to be easy, and we are in a time like that right now, friends. Now, there is coming a day, we believe, when God will do away with all death and disease, where every tear will be wiped away from the eyes of the faithful. But that time, that day, is not now. However, Jesus said, what you can have now, right now, in me, is peace. In me, you can have peace. Could part of the reason why we fear today, why we have the absence of peace, be rooted in the fact that we are searching for peace in the world, where Jesus said we would have tribulation, affliction, instead of finding the peace that is in Christ, in him? And maybe you think, well, how is it even possible for me to have peace in Jesus right now? I mean, just look around you. People are sick. I'm threatened by disease. I'm threatened by the loss of my job. Maybe I've already even lost my job. I'm threatened by death. How can you say Jesus gives me peace? Jesus, how can you say in me you can have peace? And I think Jesus would respond to you and say, take heart. That world that you're talking about, that dark world, I have overcome that world.